actually, in doing that, I kind of came up with a better system for how I could have done the old power rankings, which is instead of Letterkenny only having one ratio, you would divide like all the Letterkenny scores by how many there were. So if there was 5 scores, it'd be by 5. So you're just getting an average of the scores and not really dinging them if they aren't reviewed on a certain website.
The level of math complexity just jumped. I like the two like polar opposites of our twice monthly features. Like Nick just cold makes things up out of whole cloth, and Kyle is the most like reality math based.
This shit's real.
Quantify everything.
Perfect.
Mine takes a lot less work. That's not true. It actually takes a lot of work to make up.
I know you put in fucked up amounts of work into those shows.
Episode 369 of the TV Dudes, recorded January 26, 2022. What a mess. This week, the shows we're watching are a mess, and they're all on Hulu. There's the woman trying to put her life together in Single Drunk Female on Freeform. There's the messy single lives on display in How I Met Your Father. And there are the 3 women turning their lives upside down after the death of their friend on Pivoting on Fox. Then, of course, we've got our weekly thoughts on Peacemaker and Book of Boba Fett. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Kyle.
I'm Les.
I'm Nick. And 369, that's a funny number in it.
And we're the TV Dudes. So yeah, guys, the original title I had for this was much more critical, but then I realized you didn't all hate the shows we watched as much as I did. So
Who didn't?
We'll get into that.
No, wait, no. Who's not on board with like this week sucked?
It's a mystery. So you obviously didn't catch it in the text thread. But yeah, we can do like an Agatha Christie, adventure where you gotta like pick out which one of us.
All I caught was Les and Randy bitching, so I'm thinking the mystery is solved.
Ooh, clever detective work. You win this one.
This was that was like the sequel to Knives Out.
That's looking like okay. It's not about the clues that are there. It's about the clues that are missing.
It's like a Guess Who game.
No, I showed up proudly for my ass whipping tonight.
I think Les might have your back on a few things. He may at least not.
Does your show have glasses?
I definitely less watched these things, but we'll get into it.
All right, but before we get into that, we have to talk about what else we watched this week, and that means it's time for the TV Diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
I'm going to go first this week. In addition to the homework, I am still on a New Girl kick. I watched the final 7 episodes of season 1 and then the first 13 episodes of season 2. And man, I think most of my memories of New Girl are from season 1 because all the stuff I really remember was in season 1 and happened there. And season 2, like, I forgot that Olivia Munn showed up. I forgot that the dude who, I never remember the guy's name, but he was in Scott Pilgrim, and I always like him, was, like, Cece's boyfriend for a hot minute. I forgot that Dennis Farina plays Nick's dad. Like, there's all this stuff. It's basically like watching a new show that I really like, and it's just like, it's the perfect rewatch for me right now. So I'm digging that quite a bit. I also watched a few, Megan and I jumped back on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. We're in the middle of season 5, so we're coming up on the end of season 5. That continues to be really good. I burned my way through all of Archive 8 or Archive 81, which we will talk more about I think next week. And man, was that good. Keeping up on Grand Crew, 2 episodes of that this last couple days I watched, and man, I still think that's the contender for best new sitcom. Not that we're in January. It's not like
I think it's top of the list at least.
Yeah,
like
for
there
sure.
hasn't been anything better. For sure.
But there have been a lot of things that are worse.
I mean, like compared to other sitcoms in past years,
Yeah.
like it definitely isn't in that upper echelon. But yeah, for what we have this spring, I mean, it's probably my favorite out of the bunch.
It's very watchable. I'm digging the cast and I'm enjoying it. I caught up on Superman and Lois, which I thought they were doing a Doomsday riff, but it looks like they're doing something slightly different, and I'm very into it.
I didn't want to risk wrecking that for you on the text thread, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was really hoping that you caught this week's episode.
Yeah, I did. I just caught this week's episode, and man, the thing is, like, I really liked the show, but episode 1 came back, and it was a little bit, I don't know, Lois being bitchy for no reason, or not no reason, but no reason I was quite buying, and everybody was a little off, and it wasn't quite getting me. But then I watched episode 2 and really liked it, and it carried me through to watching episode 3, and now I'm fully on board again. So I feel like they found their footing again. And what the big bad is this year, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to go with that, but it's a very interesting take. So I'm digging. I'm on board.
It's funny. The first season, they had like 2 amazing big bads, and then kind of like a little lackluster one at the end.
Yeah.
But the whole like fake out. Well, spoilers for season 1, but the whole fake out with evil Lex. And then getting John Irons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah.
How do you top that in a season 2? Like, that's going to be the biggest challenge.
Yeah. And the answer may be Zombie Superman.
Ooh.
Or something like that.
That's not what his father-in-law called him.
No.
Is that what the brown kryptonite does? What color is the zombie
What
color?
can brown do for you?
Oh, I don't know what the brown kryptonite does, but it doesn't sound great at all.
Brown
Can make Superman even shit his pants.
Don't touch that, honey. What is it? Brown kryptonite.
I watched a couple movies. I watched Coco again, which I always really enjoy. Watched the Tragedy of Macbeth, even though I'm not a big Shakespeare fan, because I am a big Coen Brothers fan, and it's solid. If you like Shakespeare, I would recommend it. If you don't like Shakespeare, I watched it, and you should watch it too. Maybe, I don't know.
Good luck.
And then I watched Enemy of the State, which we're going to talk about on Patreon. And that's my TV diaries for the week. Les, hit us up with what you got.
Let's see. I watched standard sitcom stuff. I watched 30 Rock, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Hulu's added a couple of older shows, and so I watched Golden Palace, which is
I saw that.
That's the show after Golden Girls, where B. Arthur's not there. But Don Cheadle is, and so is Cheech Marin.
What?
They buy a hotel, and Don Cheadle and Cheech Marin work there.
Oh, yes.
That is wild.
It's called the
Watch
Golden
that.
Palace.
That is wild.
It's the Golden Girls in a hotel with Don Cheadle and Cheech Marin. I mean, that's the whole thing.
I don't understand that at all.
No, I hear the words you're saying, but they don't make any sense. Yeah.
Are we still doing the segment with Nick that Nick does? Is
Yes.
this
is
is
Les makes
this
up an
real?
old
Or
sitcom.
I saw it on Hulu.
I love that Randy's forgotten what the segment's called.
It's a long name. It's a long name.
So I watched the homework. Lisa had never actually finished out season 2 of Ted Lasso, and is somehow, I think, unaware of exactly what happened. So I'm trying to stay quiet about it. She's slowly watching her way through it. So we watched some Ted Lasso. Watched the Madonna classic Who's That Girl, which is a movie I absolutely love. Schitt's Creek, Grand Crew, which is still staying solid. Nick and I watched Avalanche Sharks, which is a much better movie than it deserves to be. Also, Shark-and-Saw Women's Prison Massacre. Just say that one more time. Shark-and-Saw Women's Prison Massacre.
Which is good, not as good as Avalanche Sharks.
Not as good a script as Avalanche Sharks, no.
Taj, what's his name, really did a number on Avalanche Sharks. I got to give him credit.
One of the things people don't understand about being a TV dude is that occasionally when you're filling out your TV diary, you look over to a column to the right and you see that 2 of your fellow TV dudes have watched something called Shark-and-Saw or Sharkansas Women's Prison Massacre.
It's actually Shark-and-Saw. It's in Arkansas.
Oh, it is Shark-and-Saw. Okay, all right. And so I was like, oh, well, that's coming.
Because I thought it was Sharkansas too, but Shark-and-Saw is definitely a better pun.
Yeah, it's like Texarkana. Also watched And Just Like That, Enemy of the State. I watched an episode of A-Team, Superman and Lois, and the David Mamet film State and Maine with Alec Baldwin
Love
and
that movie.
William H. Macy and everybody and their dog, and of course Rebecca Pidgeon. Yeah, I absolutely love that movie. There's a set of David Mamet movies that absolutely feel like stage plays that he just filmed, but they're in the sweet spot, kind of like the best of Sorkin. Yeah. And then, last minute entry, I watched some weird Mandalorian special.
Kyle, what about you?
I love how Les just like casually snuck the Sex and the City reboot in there. Like he was reading the terms and conditions on a tobacco product. No, I watched the homework, including of the first episode of Archive 81, getting ready for next week. My kind of just like weekly comforts when they're on tend to be Colbert, Kimmel, and then usually watch SNL the next morning. It's like my Sunday morning live. Been keeping up with the Rookie season 4. It's got its little hooks in me, and we even went back and started watching Castle season 1. A couple of fun things I found in there. One, Tyler Hutchin, the Superman,
Yeah.
but has a prominent cameo in an episode. And there's just straight up an episode where Nathan Fillion comes out completely dressed like Mal from Firefly, and like the other characters are like, "What the hell is that? I'm a space cowboy for Halloween." Hui. But it's like the exact same
Oh yeah,
Firefly
yeah.
outfit.
Well, in fairness, I do think that some people do call him the Space Cowboy.
I mean, some
Sweet
call him the Gangster of
Woo.
Love.
Some people call him Maurice.
But that's dumb. That's not his name. That's just wrong.
Watching The Righteous Gemstones. Gosh, that's one of my look forward to shows every week, big time. In addition to Peacemaker and not Mandalorian. It's called Book of Boba Fett, right?
Mhm.
It just has the Mandalorian in it. All right. Been watching The Chase, new episode this week. Also caught an episode of Leslie Jones. She's hosting a Supermarket Sweep now,
Mhm.
which I had forgotten more than I guess I ever remembered about that show. Because they're like running through doing the challenges, and it's like, I thought this was like a free for all. You just like grab as much food as you can.
No, it's like you bank up time. There's a whole game system to it. Yeah.
But it's like find a can of peas or something, like solve a riddle. And it's like they did have like a little I think they call it the dash or something, or maybe it is the sweep, but they did have like one part where it was kind of like a grab as much crap as you can. The Amazing Race. My wife's got some people she follows on social media are on there this season, so it's like one of her go-tos each week. And then finished Dexter New Blood, the new season that they put on Showtime, and it is like a lot of the same mixed feelings I had with season I guess it would have been 7, the last season they did of the original show, because I actually really liked the final season. I know a lot of people didn't, and I honestly think it didn't fall apart until that season finale. It's like they had like a pretty decent season that, was never as good as the Trinity Killer season, but was just as good as, the seasons that had come after that. And then they just jumped the shark. And with this season, I feel like you get, because it's the return of Jeff Lindsay, who's the author of the books. He quit producing the show after that Trinity Killer season. So a lot of people kind of, say, oh, when he left, that's when, it didn't get
Oh,
great.
well, I do notice a distinct difference after that season.
Oh, for sure.
The fact that the previous seasons were good and then those seasons were bad.
I don't know.
Being the main difference. Kyle, I'm not going to argue this with you. Those last 4 seasons were trash.
They weren't better. I'll give you that. And I could see where, if a show isn't, kind of growing, then, not.
And to be honest, 3 and 4 weren't that great either. They're just good in retrospect.
All right. You have just invalidated all your opinions. Like, I'm not even listening anymore.
No, 3 and 4
I'm a
are
Dexter
good, just not
fan.
as good as 1 and 2.
I like people getting killed and stuff.
Okay, I'm gonna isolate that, and it's just Kyle's like, I like people getting killed.
Throw some autotune on it. I mean, that really is all the show is. And this new season that they did just reminds you, like, with vivid detail, like, oh yeah, we were just watching a show where a dude killed somebody every week, and then had these like little debates with himself about, oh, I can do it. It's good now. But they do make a point in this last season to really bring home the fact that he also killed some good people, or he like manipulated the situation so that good people would get found out for his murders and stuff.
Yeah.
And it definitely plays on the probably the first 4 seasons in terms of like its callbacks. There's even the surprise motherfucker guy, Dokes. There's even like this.
Oh, he jumps
You
out
gotta
and
say
says, surprise, motherfucker?
I showed someone that whole thing for the first time the other day. They'd never watched Dexter, so it took a little explaining. And then they sent me, they were like, is this the video you were talking about? And it was the entire, like, hard eyes, motherfucker. Some fries, motherfucker.
Oh, no. But they do this, like, kind of like funny thing where he's a semi-truck driver, so you never see his face. But like he lets somebody out and he's like, the town's about a couple miles down that way. Like he has like one of those incognito cameos. But I found that this season, I feel like was very much a passable season. If this was going to be like the final season, I don't think they necessarily nailed that component. Like I think it was just like another good season of Dexter. But the season finale and the conclusion, I feel like was a way better way to end the whole show. And I mean, they could probably do some bullshit if they want to make another season. They'll figure it out. But if they wanted to say this is the definitive ending, I'm like, okay, I enjoy that way more than what we got with the lumberjack thing before. The one bummer is the fun of Dexter, especially the early seasons, is like how he gets out of it. They always like build up all these things. So and so has this piece, and so has that piece, and he's gonna get found out.
Well, you realize the mistake they did is in season 2 is when the cops are hunting him, and it's like, oh, what a great way to end this series! You did it in season 2, morons.
Yeah.
Now you have nowhere to go.
I mean, spoilers if anybody doesn't want Dexter True Blood or whatever it's called spoiled for them. But no, the way they choose to end it is
he's going to do bad things to you.
The whole final season is about his son Harris. And his son Harris has the Dark Passenger too. And he's like trying to figure out what he's going to do. So he starts teaching him the code. We only kill bad people. But like his son figures out really quick, like, oh no, there's a lot of innocent people that die because of this. Like, I can see the effect. He's almost like the millennial version of Dexter. He's like, yeah, but killing's really bad, Dad. Like if you think about it.
Kyle, you were so close. Like, oh, you're really saying some neat things here. Maybe I should check this out. And you've destroyed it all with millennial Dexter.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any of that.
It's actually, they do some really clever stuff with it because, we're in like an age of social media now. And, he's part of this high school here.
Please stop talking.
Oh, it's some fucked up stuff.
Please stop.
Dexter True Blood. What if instead of Alaska, he'd gone to Bon Tom's and the Dark Passenger's still there and he finally cracks and he kills somebody, but he doesn't like vampire kill him. And so they just are back in town the next day. And it's just Dexter trying to figure out like, what the, I shouldn't yell this in the street, but I killed you.
Mm-hmm.
Who is Suki and why does everyone say her name weird?
But yeah, no, they end it with Harrison realizes like his dad's evil and kills him. So like there's a definitive like Dexter's dead now. And it was his son who shot him.
Sure. Until Dexter, the ultimate final total season comes back and Dexter's a ghost.
Or he's the Dark Passenger. That's what I was like. They could totally do a season of millennial Dexter.
It's just he'll be the voice that tells his son what to do. Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't watch this.
Baby Dex. I thought I missed out on something, but obviously I dodged a bullet.
Dexter Spectre.
If you liked the original seasons more than these guys, I think it'd be super satisfying.
I love the original seasons, though. For me, it's like less with Star Wars. It's hate that used to be love. That's why it's so passionate.
Same.
Feel it flow through you, Nick.
I think it's like 4 episodes in, maybe 5 tops, but you'll get to an episode where Harris does the millennial Dexter thing. And you're going to go, oh, I get it. And you're going to be like, thanks, Kyle. That was actually kind of cool to watch.
How many episodes is this?
It's like 3 or 4. Here, I'm going to double check.
No, how many episodes is the entire series?
I'll let you know by the end of the segment.
Was it like 8 or 10? It can't be.
Yeah, I think there's only like 8 in the whole
So when I get to 5, then it'll get good. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think the best episodes are probably those ones on the front end, like the first 3. And then...
Kyle, how's your timer looking?
Exactly. I said that was the end. I'm now in the next person. I'm now in Nick's diaries.
To be to be fair,
To be fair.
To be fair.
To be fair,
I did. That was mostly me. I'm sorry. And I really did try to bite my tongue later, but Millennial Dexter triggered me something awful.
Episode 4. Episode 4, you'll see the fucked up thing he does, and you'll be like, "Oh yeah, that's what a Millennial Dexter would do."
I don't want to hear that term ever again.
Sure he's not Gen Dex?
Les, fuck you. Fuck you forever.
I set him up. You knock him down.
We only kill bad jokes, Nick.
How dare you?
All right,
What were we doing?
Nick, we're finishing up TV Diaries, Nick.
Actually, Nick, I think your TV diaries are over.
Yeah,
but
you're
thanks
like
for
they're
letting
like
us
3
talk.
minutes into it.
Watching it this week.
Speed round.
You know what? Using 5 minutes to talk about a show I didn't watch and how much I hated it, that's worth it. Worth it. Okay, my TV diaries was Sharkansas Women's Prison Massacre, Avalanche Sharks with Les. Wow, great. I would invite Randy and Kyle to watch with us, but I don't want to actively be rejected. I just like to think you don't have time.
Yes, that's correct. It's the time. It's
What night do you guys do it? Fridays?
No.
Saturdays, I think, mostly.
Yeah, usually Saturdays. Sometime during the weekend.
it's definitely a time commitment thing. It is definitely not that when you tell me you're watching something called Sharkansas Women's Prison Massacre that my balls shrink up inside my body.
I like to hold that excuse in my heart, and like that's the reason.
Yes, definitely the schedule and not the whatever weird shit you guys are watching.
I watched Jobless Reincarnation. I kept up on that. And I watched another one, Reincarnation one, that was not very good. It was just a fucking long title. She professed herself pupil of the wise man. And it was about a dude being reincarnated in a game as a girl, which they do sometimes, but they never really do anything with the gender flip. And I wish they would, like, if they were to do it like him getting used to this body or having any kind of existential crisis about it, that would be an interesting storyline. But normally it's just, ooh, I have boobies now. Yeah. I watched back to Fraggle Rock, back to the Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that like a remake?
Yeah, there's a new Fraggle Rock.
Yep, on Apple.
What?
I think
On Apple TV.
Apple. Yeah.
Oh.
But no John Hamm.
It's real fun. Very obvious lessons and stuff. Les, help me out. What's his name? Booger? What's his name?
Shit, now I'm blanking. There's Wembley and Goober. Goober?
Is that his name? Well, whatever his
No.
name is, he can suck my dick. Because all he ever does is correct the other Fraggles, like, oh, that's not a word. No, that's not how that. No one likes to know it all.
Boober.
Boober?
The one with the flat, the Eeyore with the flat cap and the
Yeah.
scarf.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boober.
Looks like Janice's little cousin. No, Floyd's little cousin, basically. Yeah.
Defunct Land has a really great Fraggle Rock like documentary short on YouTube.
I'll have to check that out. I like their stuff.
Yeah. No, their Fraggle Rock one was really good.
Yep. Watched Peacemaker, Late Show, Samantha Bee, Master Pancake, Twilight Marathon, although I didn't watch a lot of that because it's still Twilight. And that's a lot. And anything else? Oh, I introduced my mother to The Great. And for anyone who's wondering, like, oh, like, do your mom and you do anything but watch TV together? No, our relationship is perfect. I've gotten it down to whenever I ever had any time I have to spend, it is now watching TV and not talking, or at least not talking about anything that's not this TV show.
What about all the sex stuff in The Great? Like, that's not a little awkward watching with mom?
Oh no, I just introduced her to it, and then I'm like, oh, here's the first episode, and then
Walk
go
away.
I just introduced her to stuff, and then I don't watch an entire season. Like, oh, I'm gonna visit you for an hour, give you this so that we can talk about that next time and nothing else. And my dad's dead, so my parental relationships are perfect. They're low maintenance as hell.
That is dark, buddy.
Hey, Nick,
It is a little
I think
dark.
we both left a movie off our list, though. I wasn't here last week. Necrotronic.
Oh. Sure.
Which is on Shudder,
Les,
and I had already seen.
I don't have enough time to explain that.
No, there's like 3 or 4 movies happening, but everybody
What
should
do I
go
have,
watch.
like 30 seconds left? Like, no, I can't do that.
All right. That's our TV diaries, which we ran long a little bit because we had to dunk on Dexter.
I say we get the chess clock for next time. You know, every time somebody talks, they click and then their time starts.
We're still perfecting it. Just a reminder that you can go support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, Great Scott continues as we talk about Enemy of the State. We also have our $20 showrunner level, so if there are shows you want us to throw into the rotation, you can buy it at that level and give us a couple of ideas. Don't have to be anime. Once again, I should really stress that. Does not have to be anime.
Could it be what I think is the prequel to Dexter, which is Dexter's Laboratory?
If you can find somewhere to watch it, I don't think that's watchable anywhere right now, is it?
I think we were all surprised that Dee Dee grew up to be a cop.
Says fuck a lot.
No, Dexter's Laboratory is clearly the prequel to the Despicable Me series.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, all right, I can see that.
I like that wasn't funny. It was just like, oh, he's right.
Yeah, no, that's not a joke.
It's not really a joke. That's just a true, like, a statement.
It's just in canon. That's headcanon now.
That's headcanon.
Oh no, I agree.
No, yeah, he's got the accent. He's got the bald head.
To do like they do with all the Hanna-Barbera properties and like mash up Dexter with all those other cartoons for some like giant crossover event.
Yeah.
Oh, they've done that in the video games.
Yeah, it's true. And in a card game.
Yeah, where's the Kingdom Hearts of Cartoon Network?
Oh, dude, the
90s
Cartoon
stuff.
Network deck building game is awesome.
Ooh.
All right, let's talk about our shows for the week, which were all sitcoms except for the dessert, and that I hated without exception, to one degree or another. And we're gonna start with the show that I hated the most of any show I've watched this year. And I know it's early, but other shows are gonna have a hard time getting past the barrier of hatred that I had for this fucking show. And that show is How I Met Your Father over on Hulu. It's a Hulu exclusive. I hated it.
I'm curious, like, is it like a gestalt of like a bunch of hate points to like wasting Kim Cattrall, wasting the dude from Enlisted, not being enlisted,
Wasting the dude from Enlisted is a big part of it.
getting you to watch a tier of sitcom I know you hate,
Yes.
while advertising itself to be a higher tier of sitcom that you also hate.
Yes. So there's a little bit of residual hatred that comes in because they fucked up How I Met Your Mother. And so I'm like, if you're going to do this, I need you to recognize that y'all fucked up How I Met Your Mother and do this better. And instead they're doing it worse because at least How I Met
Inside the corpse of it, like in the apartment.
Yes. How I Met Your Mother at least had Allison Hannigan and Jason Segel and Neil Patrick Harris, and also Ted Mosby was in it. And
and also there was the main character.
This is like Chris Lowell is the best thing about this show, and I know they're going to waste him. And everybody else, there's not a scintilla of like, I don't like anybody else in this show. And Kim Cattrall, I'm sorry, she is not the narrator that you want her to be. She's not up to it.
Well, they shouldn't
so
have flipped
far.
the camera angle around.
No.
Like letting Saget be off like voiceover.
Yeah.
This should have stayed voiceover.
That's the level of creativity, though, is that what if we switch the camera around and the sun is off screen?
And nothing else. They changed nothing else.
Genius.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If you're going to do How I Met Your Mother had a lot of really funny, like, running jokes and interesting stuff. And there's a way to do it now where you're like, oh, we recognize that Barney's a misogynistic asshole. I forgot Kobe Smulders was in that too. Like there were a lot of good people in that show, and it had some fun running jokes. It was clever for its time. I don't know how well it holds up, and it definitely fucked up their ending. But two of the big things that How I Met Your Mother did wrong were they took forever to introduce the mother, and at least they seem to have recognized, okay, we've introduced the father here, unless we're going to play some shit-ass tricks, which I would not be surprised. But they're saying it's one of these characters we've already met. And I'm like, that's good. You've narrowed the scope. That's a good thing. But the whole idea of someone telling their kids this story was occasionally played for laughs, like when he would say, we're getting too old for the stuff, or the whole sandwiches running gag. But this bit that she calls up her kid and is like, hey, I want to tell you this really long story. And at no point we're supposed to believe this kid's going to hang up on her. Like, this is stupid premise.
I would love for like 3 or 4 episodes to go by and then it become clear that the kid's not on the line.
Yes.
He's put it on a loop. Like, he's just, his face is there.
In the middle of the sitcom, that bitch.
if they flip the camera around about episode 3 or 4 and reveal that the kid's not listening, maybe that would help. Yeah.
But I don't think they will. I mean, I've watched a lot of like Melissa and Joey and that tier of sitcom, and that's squarely where this looks production wise, to the point that the latest episode, that said, I can leave this kind of sitcom on for hours at a time. So I've watched all of these episodes. The latest one suddenly had a couple of bits like conversations between characters that jumped a whole level of emotional complexity. And I was like, well, but the show still looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the shit? And I looked it up, and Dan Levy wrote 1 episode. And I was like, it's still How I Met Your Father. Like, he still wrote an episode of that show. But I was like, why are a couple of these bits of dialogue better than they were last? And then, but I don't think he writes any other in the series, so fuck it. I'm just gonna go right back to nothing.
I like her friend, the like crazy party one. She's kind of fun.
I do like that they didn't go simply down the list and 1-for-1 replace actors or just gender flip everything, like each person 1-for-1. It seems more like they wrote down 4 characteristics of each character and put them in a fishbowl and then drew them out and applied them to 4 new people.
I think I would rather have had a lazy gender flip than these non-characters, though.
Valentina, that's the character I like.
Well, there's also between this and the pivoting show, I'm like, okay, so is it you trying to get points by having the Asian character also be the gay character and like not... Here, there's an Asian one, and she's gay. So that makes up for the fact that how white the rest of them are.
Yes, it's just one character who's half black, half Asian, gay, trans, and
she's converting to Judaism.
Yes,
but also from the Midwest.
Yeah,
she's also the Heartland character that's new to New York.
Yeah,
I think the Matrix is writing shows.
Yeah, I wanted this to be. I mean, I don't feel How I Met Your Mother has aged well, but it did give us like Slapsgiving and Slap Bet and shit. Like I did watch all of that show, and I really wanted this to be at least on like a Big Bang Theory budget level of show, even if I didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, it's a drop down from that. Like I know, Nick, I think you said in our chat the other day, like it feels like a sitcom from a bygone era. Like they don't make shows like this anymore, and I don't mean that in a nostalgic good way. I mean they stopped making shows like this.
I mean that they stopped making shows like this for a reason. Like it feels from like a time capsule. Like they dug up this show somehow. Like I'm like, how is this from like the late 90s to the mid 2000s awful? Like there was a special level of awful in that time period that this captures. And it's I tell you who loves this show is the writers for Kevin Can Go Fuck Himself, because they're applauding like, wow, we do a lot of work to make the sitcom segments of ours terrible on purpose, but we got to give it up to you guys. It's really natural here. Golf clap.
I think if you like this kind of thing, here's the thing. I didn't like this show, and I'm not going to defend this show, but I think by far it's not nearly as offensively bad as you guys think it is. I think that there is a casual audience.
I'm going to keep watching this. So.
Oh my God.
Wait, you're going to keep watching it, Les?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
He's got to watch how this train wrecks.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's a casual audience that I don't think they're nostalgic for television of that time, but I think what is appealing about that sitcom format to older, like previous audiences, there's still an audience for that that is going to watch this. And I didn't watch it. I never watched How I Met Your Mother.
Can you be nostalgic for a show that ended 3 years ago?
No, the format. So talking
Sure.
about this kind of is it called single cam sitcom or
is it this is multicam?
Multicam. This is multicam.
This
Yes.
multi-
okay, yeah, single cam's like Modern Family.
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think there is something for that, and yeah, no, it's not a good show by any means, but I don't think it's terrible.
Man, when I heard
Kyle named one good thing about it.
That character, Valentina, she was kind of funny. Yeah. She's all like, "Let's party. Why aren't you smiling?" Oh no.
When I heard the laugh track, my heart sank, and it never recovered.
When I heard the laugh track, I knew Randy's heart was going to sink.
But also, here's the thing: there are plenty of bad shows. Big Bang Theory, Young Sheldon's still on, right? There's plenty of bad shows. However, if you are a Hulu original, you are competing. You are using up money that could have been used to make a high fidelity season 2, and I will never forgive you for that shit.
It's weird. This week I had like us TV dudes must be connected because I could feel a weird rage every once in a while that I knew was Randy's.
There's a disturbance in the force.
And then Les, just before we got on, there was an instinct joy. Somewhere, someone's happy with Star Wars again.
For just a moment.
For just a moment. There's just a Haley's Comet like once in a lifetime.
That's not a psychic connection. That's our text thread, Nick. That's the text thread you're thinking about.
Right.
Okay. Let's jump to the next show that I also didn't like, but I didn't hate as much. And this is one that Les put on the radar. This is Freeform's Single Drunk Female. We also watched this on Hulu, but it is a Freeform show. And let's take it away on this one.
So the lead of this, Sophia Dalea, I think is her name, is the daughter from the Mick. And I had just recently rewatched the Mick. I think part of what put this on the right radar. And she, I mean, everybody in that show is uniformly great. But it definitely put her on my list as like, okay, you're an actress that can handle a particular type of comedy. Like you can take a show better than, say, How I Met Your Father. And so even though this was on Freeform and the basic premise of it is bleak, it made me nervous about how they were going to handle it, but I wanted to give it a shot for her. I enjoyed this. I have a really weird streak on what's funny. Casual is the most depressing show on the fucking planet to me. I don't know why. There's a lot of times where stuff's just not fucking funny to me. I laughed pretty hard at her wrecking the party bus and all sorts of shit. I'm also surprised that Freeform is handling this very well. So the basic premise is that she's a drunk 20-something-year-old who is hammered at her job at the opening of the show and gets fired, has a fucking burnout of a day, and ends up in the system a little bit. And I like her constant, like, thinking she's hit bottom, and, like, her probation officer's like, you're barely at the top of the bottom, honey. You got the luckiest deal I've ever seen. Shut up. But then they keep actually running, like, this sobriety clock. I think in the first episode, she gets up to 30 days and then blows it. And then she gets up to, like, 8 or 9 days. I mean, like, you can see that there's going to be this constant, like, getting it back together, fucking it up. And then Ali Sheedy is the other reason I wanted to watch this, is her absolute wreck of a mom.
Love that character.
Yeah, Ali Sheedy plays that so well. I mean, she's born to do it. But anyway, I enjoyed this, I think, more than the rest of y'all, but I watched both of these, I think, back to back. It's still definitely a Freeform show, but I was surprised that they didn't shy away from it as much as I thought they would.
I think this gave me vibes similar to what Kevin Can Wait did, where it's like, or Kevin Can Fuck Himself, where I'm like, not the sitcom part, because that was basically, I felt like what I'd done is I'd watched Kevin Can Fuck Himself as two separate shows. I'd watched How I Met Your Father, and then I watched the depressing part by watching Single Drunk Female, which I did not find funny.
This is what Hilary Duff actually looked.
I just found it horrifying, and I recognized the girl. I didn't know where I knew her from the Mick. That makes sense. I don't know. Watching someone's just so fucked, just like make their way back through life. There's a way to make that funny, but this one didn't do it. And I don't know. I just like, I'm not rooting for anyone in this. And the cringe is not funny to me that they're doing, like the whole dance she's doing with the guy that she fucked and then forgot about and now can't sleep with. Like I just don't care about AA. And it's just a thing that does not hold my interest.
How insensitive.
I know. I'm a monster.
You're not a friend of shows about friends of Bill W.
I'm not a friend of shows about the friends of Bill W. Yes. So I don't know. The premise didn't grab me. The tone didn't grab me. The performances are great. She's good. Ali Sheedy is good. The guy playing her boyfriend, who I think I know from Cougar
yeah,
Town.
I know from some others. Yeah. Cougar Town's why you know him.
Yeah.
The doofus boyfriend.
They're all good characters, but they're in a show that I'm just not interested in, I think.
Well, it should be like I think it should try and switch gears into a straight up drama for what its subject matter is. But I also think I think it's a difference in mentality here because I thought it was the funniest show we watched this week because every once in a while it would get to a point of like, oh, I don't have any Coke, I just have tea. Oh, don't worry about it. I only do Coke so I can drink more. And I'm like, I can relate. And then I felt bad about myself, very much so.
Oh no, let me be clear. This was the funniest show I watched this week. Of the shows in the homework, this was absolutely the funniest show but that is not a compliment.
No, it almost I think is a statement about the other show.
Yes, that's what it is. Shall we divert over to the final show of the homework?
Yes, this was the one that you hated. This is pivoting, right?
Let's pivot to pivoting.
Yeah.
Pivoting.
Yes.
So Randy, I know you hated How I Met Your Father, like with a burning passion that will fuel you for years to come.
Don't say it.
And then, Single Drunk Female, I think, made most of us either sad or laugh bleakly and then feel sad, which is its own thing.
Yeah.
I felt nothing for pivoting, and I think that's
Yes.
why it pissed.
Yes.
I think that's why it pissed me off, is because that violates the basic premise of the show.
Wow, Kyle's taking this hard.
These three women have a friend die, and they're supposed to all wreck their lives, right? But only Maggie Q fucks her life up. The other two just barely do anything. And it just bothers me.
In that process of fucking their life up. Give them a couple episodes.
I need in that pilot, I need her to sleep with that trainer and fuck her life up. And
by at least by the end of episode 2.
We're working on a season arc here, Randy. All right? They're not going to get to the trainer till later.
You got to give me the promise at the start.
Yeah, you gotta hit that premise early on.
And then the other one's gonna spend more time with her kids and be a better mom.
A little bit of more time.
That's not the premise of the show, though. I think you may have missed what I feel is the real premise of this show.
Wasting Eliza Coop? Is that the premise of the show?
This is just a basic friend formula show. All right? Maybe there's a show you've heard of called Friends that did it, but a friend formula show. Except where they twisted it on its side is each of these women were brought together from separate walks of life through one singular friend, and that friend has now just died.
That friend, so the Ross is missing.
But if that's the premise,
I do think Friends would be funnier if Joey was dead.
I was just thinking, which friend would be better as a whole in the room?
No, it would not. If you remove Joey or Phoebe from Friends, the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah. You're right. It's never good.
It's got to be Ross is dead and everybody's happy. The thing is, if that's the premise, though, Kyle, the pilot should have had that friend in it. It should have been like a Michael Keaton situation. You bring in somebody big. It's like the four of them having their thing, and then she dies at the end.
Well, then also, why is it titled Pivoting when one of them makes a very hard detour in her life to deal with her friend's death, and the other two sort of do a little bit?
I guess Mild Adjustments wasn't a good name for a sitcom.
I honestly, I did not catch the reason for the name, to be honest. That is definitely a theme, but I don't think the idea is that each of them are going to pivot into a new life thing. Gosh, why you guys are overthinking this show?
Someone should be. The writers
I don't think so. I don't think Les is thinking about it at all.
No. So Kyle, what did you like this? You're on board?
I'm digging it.
Three friends up in their lives in an effort to find happiness.
Okay, yes. I missed the conceit of the show. Maybe I'm watching a different show.
But you enjoyed the show you thought you watched.
I write my own premise. No, because I think this more so than maybe even, well, not more so, but I think just kind of like How I Met Your Father, this to me feels like a sitcom, like a single cam sitcom, but in the sense that we're taking this premise, to set up kind of entertaining scenarios, and then we get to see how the characters, react to them.
When are they going to set up these entertaining scenarios? Because I watched 2 episodes and there was nothing funny.
What about when he was spelling out jets on the highway? That was funny.
That wasn't funny. That's a thing people do.
In defense of you, Kyle, I watched the 3rd episode, and them eating those edibles, that was funny.
Oh, yeah, that one. And then they start talking to the plum, and JB Smooth is the plum.
The plum that's trying to fuck them, yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally out of tone with the rest of the show, but it is hilarious. You are watching an entirely different show for 20 minutes, but
it was my favorite thing from this week. I'm not even
no.
being funny about it.
It was my favorite thing from this week.
Wait, it was your favorite thing?
No, actually, my favorite thing from this week was Single Drunk Female.
I was like, you just said that was the funniest thing. Oh my gosh, this is such a confusing episode.
Yeah.
But no, there's so many people I love, like actor wise, in here. Like
that's why I'm mad at it.
I want to see it succeed, and I don't think it's failed yet.
Are you saying that I only didn't like it because Tiger from Future Man didn't kill anybody? Because that is a fair assumption. That might be true.
Gosh, that is crazy when you think of everything she did on that show versus this. But it is kind of a fun flip from their character dynamic in Casual, where they also played a couple. But yeah, completely different here.
I guess,
in fact, less interesting characters, so I could see where.
I guess I'm happy for Eliza Coupe that she's finally in something worse than Scrubs Med. Because at least that was good. It just wasn't good for Scrubs.
Yeah, that cast was amazing though.
But yeah, the cast was amazing. Like that's the
thing. It
was
a Scrubs spinoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was an additional season of Scrubs that
Eliza Coupe. That was the first. I think it's the first thing she was in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow.
And she's great in it, and because she's great in everything except for this. And actually, she's good in this. It's just it's terrible. It's a waste of. So you're saying you like there's people you like and you want to succeed. There are people I like, and I want them freed from this corpse of a show.
I like Maggie Q's story. I think her story is interesting. I'll give you. Yeah, I think
she's the doctor.
Yeah, and she acts. Her acting is the best in it, and I believe her crisis.
Weirdly, her crisis is the one that gives me the most anxiety because I'm watching it. I'm thinking, what are you doing, throwing away your life like this? Like you can't go back.
Because no one is dying on anything.
Oh, actually,
no one's gonna die if she fucks up on this job.
But she's making 10% of the money she was making.
Pause.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
So funny enough, this is a real thing that happens, and I knew a guy who did this. The reason she's doing that is because she's in the middle of a divorce, so she owes her wife alimony, and her wife is promised to a certain percentage of what she has. So the reason she's doing the grocery store job is she's trying to fuck over her partner.
Now, if that's
you kind of get to that.
So she
in
built up her
3.
savings and is now and now everything she
That's
earns
why
forward.
They're stealing the plum tree from her.
They should have hit that more.
House.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I saw a guy who had a really successful business, got divorced, like sold that business for next to nothing, and then started a new business that was like the exact same thing, but technically his wife didn't own any of it. Yeah. So it's scummy, but I mean, who's to tell? We don't know why they got divorced yet. So
I was hoping that similar to How I Met Your Father being in the same, you're like, oh, I got this apartment from these 3 people, huh? that we would, watch these 3 people, their friend died, as I understand it from episode 2. And
no, episode 1 they're at the funeral.
No, but episode 2 they say it like my friend died like 50 times.
A lot.
I think it's the title of the episode. So they blow their lives up. They all move in together. They get this amazing apartment. It's got this view of this weird naked guy.
Oh, no.
And the show's called Pivot.
Oh, God. Oh. Yikes.
No, it would have been funny. Who's the actress who was on Big Love? The brunette.
You know, she's in Goodwin?
Yes.
Yeah.
It would be really funny if the whole time they're setting up this, I'm, going to cheat on my husband with the trainer. We find out, oh no, she's actually a polygamist and she's living in the Big Love house. And that's why she wants to cheat.
I think it's telling that we're more interested in seeing these characters from their previous roles and the roles they're inhabiting in this show.
Yes. I'm just watching a different show, I think.
I think you are.
I turn it on and I see Big Love. I see Future Man.
I'm actually rooting for her to fuck the trainer. Like, I'm like, yeah, you deserve it. And plus, he looks like he's into it. Sure, it's probably because of mommy stuff, but...
Wolf gives up her time traveling ways to live in the Big Love house. I'd watch that show.
That's where they're going with that whole storyline is the trainer's going to be attracted to her, but it's going to be this like weird MILF fantasy that really turns her off.
Well, because he said like, you take care of me or something. And I'm like, oh, that's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you see the butterflies in his eyes. Like, the actor isn't the best actor in the world. He's not a bad actor, but he has 2 gears. He has the trainer, which you saw, but then when he goes to love puppy dog, it's just like big eyes, like, what?
Yeah, I think he does fine.
But just you see that switch, and like he goes from 1 to 2 on the
Yeah.
I would like to pick apart the cast of all 3 of these shows and put them together in one better show. There's good people in all these shows, and they're all being wasted.
Are you trying to pitch me Terriers 2 again? God,
I am pitching you Terriers 2 again, yeah.
I think you're pitching us live action Archer. Except Archer is still a cartoon character voiced by John H. Benjamin.
Yes,
but then
yeah,
all
for
the
sure.
other characters are real people.
Everyone else is a Muppet. That's correct. All right, let's have some dessert, guys. We've earned it. We watched some really terrible TV this week. Let's start off by talking about Peacemaker, which Les did not get to join us for our initial talk. So let's talk episode 4, and let's hear your thoughts about Peacemaker.
So far, I couldn't be more pleasantly surprised by this. The Suicide Squad movie that Gunn did was fun, but wasn't exactly what I wanted. I wasn't as thrilled. I got done with it and was like, I don't know that I'll watch that again. Peacemaker's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, honestly, I think for the pacing, James Gunn needs to work in television for me, because all of his movies are about 30 minutes too long, full of slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
And that beat problem doesn't happen in these episodes. Like, each one of the Peacemaker episodes is fucking rad. And I think the thing that has absolutely surprised me most is Vigilante, which I think there was an interview with Gunn just recently that there was a different actor and they shot 5 episodes with him.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Like, Gunn was like, no, this character needs to be right. I don't want to make you do more and more humor you don't want to do.
Imagine how hard that has to be. Like, you already have a bunch of like really big stuff you've done. People count on you. You're in your head like, I'm the shit, da da da. But to have the strength to go, damn, this guy is not my Marty McFly. Get me Michael J. Fox. Like, to make that call.
It would be a blow to your pride, but like, okay, I understand. But why are you replacing the scenes where I'm just in a suit? That feels personal.
Right? Just have Tig Notaro do a voiceover. You don't gotta like.
His moment in this episode this week.
Oh God, his whole setup prison thing, like watching her just lead him over to that because he's a dipshit.
Yep.
And knowing the whole time like what she's doing, that was absolutely fucking amazing. It was as good as the, hey buddy, you want to move over and let me take that shot?
I love how they're all doing like going renegade and doing their own things, and it's like Economos basically putting his dad in prison. And they're like, did you not think this through? What you did? And the same thing. She's like, wait, you got Vigilante to go kill his dad? You never thought that might be a problem?
Is his best friend manipulated his best friend to kill his dad? Well, that sounds bad when you say it like that.
No, it sounds bad when you do it like that.
But Vigilante going up to that table and delivering that speech about what's y'all's favorite parts about black culture. I'll go first.
I'm grateful that black people gave us rock and roll music. Lynyrd Skynyrd, ZZ Top, 38 Special. All those guys owe everything to black American folk and blues musicians. I mean, they wouldn't exist without them. And then white redneck music would just sound like, well, what it sounded like before black people, which was the wet, sloppy sounds of fucking your sister. Okay, so that's my turn. Which one of you dumb sister fucking tiki torch carrying sloth from the Goonies looking pieces of shit wants to go next?
Oh,
I'm the
so
guy that's
good.
gonna fuck your
I'm
ass.
just the guy that's gonna fuck you so hard your ass is gonna drag behind you like a tail.
Yep.
I love also that he can back it up, that he just beats the shit out of those.
Dude,
oh yeah,
he looks so nerdy, but
surprising.
when he goes to town on them,
It's
and
amazing.
I mean, you give me a show where someone beats up a bunch of white supremacists, I'm gonna like it anyway. But
his confidence is
come after
earned.
that, yeah, it is.
The most ridiculous thing that was said in this episode is when they're talking about, your dad left you for another dude. He's not even gay. He just did that to get away from you. And then he's like, yeah, my dad probably is faking being gay, so he doesn't have to talk to me.
He took that as canon now. He's established that as part of his backstory.
Yeah, I mean, as bad as Peacemaker has been abused by his dad, Peacemaker is abusing Vigilante just as badly. And I hope that comes back around.
Everyone in this show is awesome. John Cena's doing fantastic work as Peacemaker, but all we're talking about is Vigilante.
Yes.
In a show of scene stealers.
This was the Vigilante episode, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Watching Judo Master continue, like, all of that just cracks me the fuck up.
The down in his luck Economos, who basically looks over and the thing is, he's like, oh shit. and then he has
sneaking around the house because, like, you're about to get jumped.
That this schlubby guy has to keep fighting Judo Master is hilarious to me. And then he keeps kicking his ass.
Dude, when Steve Agee is like gasping for his asthma inhaler, like that's like the most convincing ass whooping I think I've ever seen acted on screen. Like, I'm like, did he really get his ass whooped?
Oh,
I can't get the line out. Let me get a puff.
I also loved Peacemaker raiding his dad's storage space. Like, I like the fact that Robert Patrick, like, his dad is like a racist superhero clan or supervillain clan member, like crazy motherfucker. Like,
yeah, we get to see the White Dragon outfit.
They built the White Dragon armor from the comics and did a
I fucking
really
love
good
that's
job.
In there. Yeah, it looks great.
But all of his tech actually fucking works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the terrifying combo of, like, I mean, no, he builds me stuff. He's absolutely a racist. Like, no, he's a piece of shit.
That's an awkward conversation with the props department. You want me to make a what?
Right? How would a duck even fit? You said a lot of dumb shit.
It doesn't even make sense. Probably because ducks are sneaky, given the expression.
He can't disguise his distinctive walk.
On top of it, though, being hilarious, and there's the DC Easter eggs, which are just delightful. I mean, fucking Matter Eater Lad gets name checked here.
God, that's now, and like, I love, is it Mern that's asking, like, wait, that's real?
Yeah. Matter Eater Lad and Batmite have both been name checked in this show.
I watched him get mad and eat a Wendy's.
Whole Wendy's. They were like,
Wendy's.
his fries were cold or something.
Nice nuts.
And then I'm actually invested in the plot. Like, I want to know what the butterflies are. I want to know the fuck Mern is. I like the Judah Master is like, they're not what you think, and that Peacemaker's keeping one on the sly. Like, I'm invested in this story.
No, the story is actually interesting.
And the map they showed, like, when they revealed for just a moment the, like, butterfly estimated thing, that's so out of control that you're, like, immediately I felt like we were meant to know that you're not stopping an invasion, that, like, whatever you were told about this mission, that ship has sailed.
Yes.
Or they're one of many teams.
Yeah.
Right.
Either that or what I was thinking was...
these fuckwits can't do this.
That Amanda Waller and her group's negotiations for whatever we want from butterflies fell apart.
Yeah.
Like, this feels like you are a political assassination team.
Yeah.
As we negotiate with butterflies.
Yeah, they're just like, we're just trying to show you we're serious by having these fuckwads go around killing.
Because, like, I feel like we're gonna find out that, like, oh no, they've been around forever, and there's, like, some of them in our government, some of them in there, and, like, this is a
yeah, it's a whole deal. They were getting uppity, so now we've
that this is
the
not
contract.
an invasion repelling.
Right.
Here's a theory. The whole show so far seems to be about families with very separate people in it and how they can get along, get together when people have different views, believe in different things. What if the butterflies are just as complex? That there's not, like, the butterflies in us, but, like, there's infighting within the butterflies.
Yeah,
they're super not monolithic.
Myrna's sending them to kill butterflies, and he's a butterfly.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
So there's got to be, they have to have their own, family dysfunction going on too.
Yeah, it's really, I'm really curious.
Yeah, more so than, I mean, how did Peacemaker? Well, I know how. James Gunn needs to be in charge of the DC universe, because this is, I mean, I love Titans, but I mean, not Titans. I love Doom Patrol.
Doom Patrol, yeah.
But it's its own fucked up weird animal. Like, it's like Legion versus all other superhero shows.
Yes. Yeah.
Peacemaker feels like a template of, like, how did Titans just give me Easter eggs, but they're never this fun? Not a one of them.
That's what it is. It's the sense of fun along with, like, there is something weird to me about, like, they are making fun of everything I love here. Like, there's absolutely no one is going to be like, oh, but Peacemaker's kind of a cool character. No, they're all dipshits. Like, this is like the Deadpoolification of the DC universe. But I'm okay with it because they've fucked up every other time I've tried it. And I'd rather it be fun and making fun of things than dour and joyless. Like, if those are my choices, I will take Peacemaker.
Like, I like James Gunn walking into the DC office like, this is what you've all done this. This is what you all did. What happens
Yep.
next is on you. You left the DCU in this state so that all I can do now is airplane.
Their best movies are making fun of themselves, like the Teen Titans Go movie. Like,
Yeah.
like all their best stuff is viciously making fun of what they've done.
Well, even the best deep cuts on like Justice League Unlimited and shit were like halfway laughing at like using laughter to somehow make this work. Like these goofy characters and shit. Yeah.
Oh shit, there's Elastic Man. It's like, we already got Plastic Man over there. We don't need two stretchy guys.
He's a detective. We've got Batman.
Damn it.
All right, let's talk about our other dessert show. Let's talk about the Book of the Mandalorian. I mean, the Book of Boba Fett.
Boba Fett assembles a crew of one guy.
I thought y'all were being facetious on the text thread of like, well, this Boba Fett episode is so Mandalorian-ish, and that and I was like, I can't, other than I just hate the character of Boba Fett, I can't really tell that much difference in the two. But no, this is an all about the Mandalorian episode that only barely brings in
Finnick at the end.
Not only is this a Mandalorian episode,
even directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, all of it.
It's an important Mandalorian episode.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's the start of season 3.
It's the start. He gets a new ship. He melts down his spear. He gets a thing for growth. Like if you don't watch Book of Boba Fett and you come to watch Mandalorian season 3, you're gonna have missed a lot of shit.
Well, and the exposition moment that should be infuriating, but was just like, hey, did you have any leftover questions from season 1 of The Mandalorian? Who is so and so? Well, what is so and so? Well, where did the saber come from? Well, what is such and such? And she just explains it one after another.
Yep.
Are there any ramifications to him taking his helmet off? Yup.
The armorer explains it all.
Yeah.
So I will say, as someone who is really enjoying Boba Fett, and I know that I don't know if I'm in the minority, but I definitely have friends in my feed who are like, this show isn't working. I love the Boba Fett show. It's one of those things like I love getting it every week. And so getting an episode of The Mandalorian, which I also love, that's great. But I kind of felt cheated that I didn't get a Boba Fett episode this week because like it opens and we see the silhouette, and I'm like, oh shit, that's cool. And then the Mandalorian walks in, I'm like, oh, so that's gonna be the recruit. That's cool. So they're gonna do this opening of The Mandalorian, and then Fannec's gonna show up, and he's gonna join the Boba Fett show. And then that didn't happen. And they kept going on, and I guess right about after the credits rolled, and we started going into he's on the Dyson Sphere planet, and he's going to do his thing, and I'm like, wait, the whole episode's gonna be the Mandalorian, and Fennec's gonna show up at the very end, and that's what happened. Yeah,
you're waiting for it to show up, and it's by the time they're building that ship, you're like, oh, they're not doing it.
Oh, I figured out before then. I was like, oh, we're just gonna do a full-on Mandalorian episode. This is so.
They also did like a low-key plug for Rangers of the New Republic.
Oh yeah, you're right. I hadn't thought about that. Those two,
they had the chip scene.
Selma Hayek shows up. You realize you're still watching Eternals.
I don't know how I feel about this episode because it's really good, but it also is in the middle of a show that does not need this comparison right now.
Right, and it only has 7 episodes.
Well,
yeah.
I had stopped watching Boba Fett, skipped last week, and then watched this one. It's a Mandalorian now.
Like meta narrative here. Like the episode itself is fantastic, but meta it screams that even Disney doesn't think Boba Fett is interesting enough to sustain 8 episodes.
Yeah, this is having your lead-in actor just drop in on your sitcom. Like we know the network handed you Andy Samberg from Brooklyn for whatever your bullshit sitcom is.
And I heard the music and I'm like, oh right, I forgot how much I like everything on this show better than the one I was watching. Damn.
Like this would be like episode 5 of Hawkeye. Suddenly Loki shows up and it's a buddy comedy for the whole episode. Like it might be a ton of fun, but it would take this short runtime of a show and it would totally distract you from it.
And I agree. I think it shows weakness.
Yeah, it's a weird call.
In defense of the standalone episode, they picked the perfect time to do it because that first half of the season like really wrapped. Like we got all of our Boba Fett origin story that we wanted.
Oh yeah,
and we are well into.
Some would say
the
more
crime
than
part.
what we wanted.
But I was expecting this to be a whole "you son of a bitch, I'm in." Like the assembling the crew episode.
I thought like if they were doing something, if they want to break the format or something, if this was a 15 episode show or whatever, and they wanted to do 2 or 3 episodes, like this one's The Mandalorian, the next one they're introducing Cad Bane, the next one's a Bosk show, and they basically give each bounty hunter an episode to show off, and then they bring him in. Fennec recruits him at the end, like the Avengers Initiative every time. Like that I could see, and that would make sense. But doing this one episode in the middle of a 7-episode run when they
also that would be like a backdoor pilot. Do you like any of these characters? We could do a series about them too.
Yeah.
You know, I will say I could see, and we won't know till the end of the season, but after this episode, we do have kind of a bunch of stuff set up for the Mandalorian, so that however this Boba Fett thing ends, we can send him in a much better direction. Like I forgot that he lost his ship, so like he didn't have any transportation.
The only question I have is how is he supposed to transport bounties in that thing?
Oh,
I had the same question. I was like, this is a cool ship, but where are you going to put your bounties?
You do realize you're a bounty hunter, right?
Maybe he's not. Maybe he's.
He goes, I got a little Yoda spot up there. Got the spot for a baby Yoda.
Yeah, that was funny where it's like, oh, we removed the Astrodrek so we can put something else small in there. I mean, anything small, really, not anything specific.
Anything.
You know what they're going to do with that spot.
Oh, yeah.
A normal-sized character is going to get shoved in there eventually. It'll probably be next season. But they're setting up that joke right now. I'm calling it.
Yep.
Mando's going to be like, I didn't think this through.
You want to get out of here? Let's go.
Beyond the weird structure stuff, to talk about the episode itself, it's a great episode. Like I love Amy Sedaris' character, and I love her. Like we've seen how bad Tatooine sucks, and she's just kind of steered into the skid. She's like, yeah, living here sucks. I've never been off planet, but I got a pretty good life for myself. I got all these droids and
do you almost got eaten today
by a womp rat.
Seeing actual relations like with Jawas that like, oh no, I work with, like I give them a list of shit I need, like where do they get it from? I don't know. I mean off people's ships like they stole from you.
That was one of the coolest things about the Jawas ever. Like I never thought of them as like kind of a video game element where it's like just tell them what you need and you know they'll come back later, you give them all your rupees and let's go.
As long as you're not morally obligated about where they get that shit.
This felt like nobody on Tatooine has morals.
No, they left somebody to die in the desert. Absolutely.
This did feel like a video game or an RPG though. It's like he had a cool weapon. He got the Beskar spear, but then he leveled up and got the Darksaber. And so he's like, well, he's like talking to the DM. He's like, well, I don't really need the Beskar spear anymore. Can I do anything with it? He's like, well, you can find the armor and turn into some armor. Well, can Grogu get some armor? Because my sidekick needs armor because he keeps getting hit.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then he's like, well, what about my ship? Can I spend some experience and get a new ship? He's like, yeah. Do you just want to do the Razor Crest? And he's like, well, I kind of do. I just want to get into the Razor Crest. He's like, let me pitch you something. That's the DM. Let me pitch you a fun idea. And I love, by the way, that Filoni and Favreau and those guys keep rescuing bits of continuity from like episode 1 through 3.
They really do.
That ship, it was in the worst movie. It was in episode 1.
And it's one of the things that we all yelled about of like, why did you bring Star Wars back and none of the tech looks like anything in Star Wars?
Yep.
And they actually made the Naboo bullshit cool.
And they and they gave it Space Nos.
Well, and so Space Nos. But I love the idea that like I wish they'd leaned into that in the first movie, that everything on Naboo is this weird gilded handmade spaceships, like that
form
kind of
over
bullshit,
function,
you know. Because otherwise I was like, oh, y'all just had a new level of computer graphics and could do smooth metal ships.
Yep.
Oh, we can make this a good ship and fast by taking everything out of it and fucking replacing most of this shit.
Yeah.
It's like, no, the idea here is good, but these fucking Naboo people, like, they're just sticking shit everywhere.
Cops be copping.
One of the things I think a lot of people got gun shy about doing humor in Star Wars because of how bad the humor was in the prequels. And so
Roger.
I love that basically Filoni and those guys, and I can't give him Filoni credit. He's the producer credit. He's not the guy writing or directing. But Bryce Dallas Howard, Robert Rodriguez, Favreau, everybody, like they're like, you know what? It's okay for Star Wars to be fun on occasion. So there's a bit where she's talking about, oh yeah, I used to date a Jawa, and the Jawa says to her something in Jawaese, and she says, oh no, thanks, I'm just working on me right now.
I love that.
And then she turns to him and says, "Furry." Ugh. Like there's just levels to that joke, and it works, and it's hilarious. Like. And then when Mondo shows up and shoots the Womp Rat, she outright yells, she's like, "What an entrance!" It shouldn't work, but it does.
Well, she like seems to know she's in a show because like I seem to have a good life here. Really? What is your standard?
She's like, I'm a series regular. I'm a recurring guest.
I get the feeling that Mando could hit a button on his armor and she'd talk faster, like just spill out all of her text.
Yes.
It's like you definitely walked into a potion shop and just didn't hit B.
Yeah.
Randy, you were saying that the DM stuff, I thought it was like the lore of it was really cool. Like
it was
that the Mandalorians don't like the Beskar spear because their Beskar is for armor, for protection, and they don't like a weapon that can pierce it. Like not even the dark saber can pierce Beskar.
Yeah,
like that they have a weird like religious thing about defense and family and stuff like that.
I know the darksaber is from Rebels and Clone Wars. I'm not sure which, maybe both. But I'm not sure that the bit of lore they dropped in here where they're like, oh, he was the only Mandalorian who was also a Jedi. I'm like, I think that's new.
I think that's
new. And that's
Yeah.
really cool. Like that is a cool little bit to drop in there.
That's that makes you go, oh, I kind of want to see that guy.
Yeah.
Well, because somebody's actually going to have to do something Luke style with like your Jedi teachings, like think this through in a different way. Because like he says immediately, these are in immediate conflict with each other.
The lightsaber battle with this was different than any other lightsaber battle that we've ever seen because it's all like weird, clumsy stuff, and like the dark saber is kind of heavy. Like it has a whole different weight and more vicious.
It seems like he's fighting with a magnet, like it.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, like a gyroscope that's off.
And
or
also,
something.
like Les has been talking about this forever. Well, such a dangerous weapon. He takes a fucking chunk out of his leg.
Yes.
That was dope.
And it cauterizes like immediately.
Yeah,
like he just
hurt
shaves.
And he hurts himself bad.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
yeah, he's
that was
limping
not
the
good.
rest of the episode.
Like you're just missing some quad there. You got a fillet gone.
Historical like medieval duels where they would sword fight like that, there'd be maiming and like crazy shit that would happen.
Yeah.
Well, he's cutting tables in half and half like a hawk of like the rocky meat. Like it was cool.
Something else that was cool is him training with the armorer on the catwalk, and she knocks him down into space, and he's just like,
"Oh my god!"
I love that because I was watching for it because that gave me a little bit of that vertigo. I don't know if you guys ever get this where you're watching a show and like they go over they show you, the camera shows you like a drop, and you get that feeling in the pit of your stomach. And I got that a little bit when they showed him, like, oh god, there's nothing beneath him. That's free. And I remembered, oh, he's wearing a jetpack. So like when she knocks him off comically, I'm like, oh, that's funny.
I had forgotten about the jetpack because I mean he always has it on, and that like she didn't react. Like he fell off, and she was like,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
I love that because I was thinking like, oh, Star Wars and their like long things with no railings ever in this universe. There's no safeties, and then suddenly like, and yet no one falls. Oh my god!
And he just clumsily falls off too. It's not graceful in any way.
It's almost like the like Simon Pegg stopping and catching his breath running across Star Trek.
Yeah.
Like how big is this fucking ship?
Yeah. And then they paid that off too, because when they did the duel, they both took their jetpacks off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shit, this is for real.
Because it's a duel, and there's like,
Yeah.
oh no, we do this right.
And also, Mando gets a lot better once he's not using the saber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of cool. The character that Jon Favreau's playing, they are saying is the descendant of the Vizsla character who Jon Favreau voiced in the original series.
Right.
So he's like, oh no, that's literally my family's weapon. Like, you know, I'll take that back now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's some good
That is
texture
very cool.
right there too. And Randy, you probably know there's like the setting of this giant circle thing that they're on. I was like, okay, someone watched Mass Effect.
Yeah.
someone played through Mass Effect, and like the elevator is like the same.
Yeah, and man, did it look cool. They did such a great job on it.
It's really neat, like the curve of it, and you see how big it actually is, where you can't tell that you're in a curve because it's so big.
Almost like Inception.
Yes.
A little bit. Your horizon line is above you.
By the way, the New Republic, they've just turned into cops. They're just like shitty asses. And
they're a lot less cool when there's no war
the
to
same
fight.
ice cops? Was that who those guys are?
Yeah.
One of them was.
Yeah. One of them was.
The other one seemed like a rookie. Like.
Yeah.
You want to fill out the paperwork? No.
But I like that he's like, can I ask you some questions? And Mondo's like, nope. and just gone.
Also, like they said that the ship is out of these whatever system, like it's invisible. So like they make it believable, like, oh yeah, these cops aren't going to do extra work to try and chase this guy down.
Right.
I really want that show to be like Reno 911. Like lean into the comedy.
That'd
be so great.
Yeah, give me my full on like Cops of the Republic.
Space donuts and blue milk.
We just broke up a Jawa prostitute den. It was real weird.
Furry.
I was bummed not to get a lot more Boba Fett and Chrysanthemum and Fennec and all that stuff this week. But man, it was fun to visit the Mandalorian and remember, oh yeah, we got more of that coming too, and that's great.
Yeah, I think great episode. I think tactically and overall a mistake. But
yeah, that's kind of where I am too. It's like it's great. It's a weird call. But we'll see how they bring it home the next couple weeks. All right. That wraps it up for us this week. Thank you, Les. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Rand.
Thank you.
This is the way.
And thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Reminder that you can go to patreon.com/tvdudes, throw us that bucking episode, and listen to us talk about Tony Scott movies. Like, what are we talking about this week? Enemy of the State.
We're talking about the 90s.
Here we are.
And until next week,
TV Dudes out! The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.